One of Louis Vuitton's most recognizable bags now fetches $1 million, but you can't find it on the brand's website nor in any store. You can't just walk in and ask to buy it. The Speedy has long been a symbol of affordable luxury. It's the bag everyone recognizes instantly, the bag many buy as their first step into the world of Louis Vuitton. However, this version is completely outside the mass market. It costs around $100,000, more expensive than a Ferrari 296 GTB, around $33,000, a Lamborghini Huracan, around $25,000, and even a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, around $4,000. At that price, it's comparable to a one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan or a contemporary art piece from Basel. And it's completely out of reach for the average consumer, offered only through private conversations with Louis Vuitton's most exclusive VVIP clients. How did a bag designed for everyday use become a private million-dollar item, reserved for only a select few? To understand why this feels so unsettling, I compare it to the Hermès Himalayan Birkin. That bag is also incredibly expensive, often reaching seven-figure prices at auction, but its value has increased steadily over decades. It's traditionally scarce, evidenced by its resale records, and quietly revered. Its price seems institutionalized. The Millionaire Speedy, however, takes a different path. It completely bypasses the public market. It doesn't wait for validation from auctions. Instead, it declares its value from the outset and poses a simple question. Are you part of the group of people allowed to own it? That contrast is why this bag is more controversial than enduring. While the Birkin Himalayan whispers exclusivity, the Speedy Millionaire declares it openly. While Hermès relies on patience and heritage, Louis Vuitton relies on culture shock and instant symbolism. This isn't the most expensive bag ever made, but it may be one of the boldest. Because its price isn't for the market, it's for a message. Let me clarify the nature of this bag. This is the Louis Vuitton Millionaire Speedy, priced at approximately $1 million and designed by Pharrell Williams, Louis Vuitton's creative director for menswear. What makes this bag special is that you won't find it on the Louis Vuitton website. You won't find it in any stores. There's no listed price, no waiting list, no add to cart button. This bag is made to order and only offered to a very small group of Louis Vuitton's top VVIP customers. And that changes everything. Because once a product is no longer widely available on the market, it stops competing with other products. It doesn't need to be comparable to a regular Speedy, or even to other luxury handbags. Instead, it competes on ownership. Either you are allowed to own it, or you are not. What makes this bag so particularly interesting is the contrast. The Speedy has always been one of Louis Vuitton's most iconic bags. It's recognizable, practical, and highly functional. And now, that very shape has been transformed into a private, million-dollar item that most people will never see in real life. So, the real question isn't just the price. Why is the Louis Vuitton Millionaire Speedy so expensive? Is it because of the materials, the craftsmanship, the Pharrell name attached to it? Or is it because this bag is deliberately placed outside the usual rules of the luxury industry? At $1 million, this bag doesn't question whether it's worth it. It's posing a much more unsettling question. Who gets to own it, and who doesn't? Once we answer this question, we'll understand how the modern luxury industry truly works. To understand why this bag exists, I have to go back to the story of Louis Vuitton's familiar Speedy. The original Speedy was never designed to be so different. It was practical, lightweight, and you could use it every day. For decades, the Speedy represented accessible luxury, something recognizable, practical, and relatively within reach compared to the rest of the high fashion world. That's why it matters, because what Pharrell did with the Louis Vuitton Millionaire Speedy bag completely reversed that meaning. Instead of taking a rare, already exclusive design and pushing it further, he took one of Louis Vuitton's most familiar silhouettes and stretched it to an absurd degree. The shape remains the same, but the message is completely changed. The Speedy is no longer about practicality, convenience, or basic luxury. It's become iconic, confrontational. It's deliberately luxurious. This isn't about innovating the bag. It's about redefining what the bag represents. The Millionaire Speedy, wasn't created simply because customers demanded $1 million Speedy. It was created to send a message about power, accessibility, and cultural dominance. It's a statement showing that even the most familiar object can be transformed into something unattainable, if the brand decides to. And that's the bottom line. This bag doesn't exist to meet a need. It exists to assert Louis Vuitton's position in the modern luxury hierarchy. This is where the real debate begins. Because once the initial shock wears off, people start scrutinizing what they are actually paying for. And the first thing critics point out is the diamonds are only on the clasp, not on the entire bag, not woven into the leather, only on the LV clasp itself. For many, that detail is crucial. When they hear $1 million bag, they expect high-end materials like jewelry everywhere. Instead, they see a Speedy in alligator leather with a single diamond-studded detail, and they begin to wonder if the price is more symbolic than its material value. And that is where comparisons immediately begin. The clearest example is the Hermès Himalayan Birkin. That bag also uses rare alligator leather. It also has diamond-studded hardware, but its reputation has been built slowly, over decades. Its rarity stems from tradition, not from publicity. Its value has been affirmed time and again through auctions, resale records, and collector demand. When people talk about the Himalayan Birkin, they use words like timeless, sophisticated, and unavoidable. The Millionaire Speedy bag, however, evokes a completely different feeling. It appeared with an exorbitant price tag from day one. There was no confirmation of its value on the secondary market. No long auction history. Its value was not discovered, it was declared by the brand itself. And that makes some people uncomfortable. So the inevitable question is, why is Hermès praised for its exquisite control, while this bag is criticized for being excessive? Is it the material, the history, or the price skyrocketing so quickly from familiarity to unattainability? Because in the world of luxury goods, timing is crucial. And sometimes, what people object to is not the price itself, but how boldly the price is announced. After overcoming the controversies, the next question is more practical. Why does this bag cost $1 million, even when it was already so expensive from its launch? The answer begins with scarcity, a truly created scarcity, and strategic ambiguity, all layered upon one another. First, there is the leather. The Millionaire Speedy is made entirely from rare alligator leather, one of the most tightly controlled materials in the luxury industry. Alligator leather cannot be mass-produced and cannot be rushed. It is governed by international wildlife protection laws, geographically restricted, and rejected at an extremely high rate even for minor imperfections. Only a small percentage of alligator leather qualifies for use in high-end luxury products. That alone places a strict supply limit before a stitch is even made. Next is the monogram pattern. On a regular Speedy, the pattern is printed or overlaid onto canvas. On this bag, the monogram pattern is hand-painted directly onto the alligator leather. This process is said to take around 65 hours per bag, and it is not just about the time. It is also about being flawless. A small mistake could ruin the leather, and there is no undo button. That risk has been factored into the cost. Next is the hardware. The thick chain, zippers, and metal details are made from solid 18K gold. These are not readily available parts. They were developed specifically for this bag, reportedly taking months to prototype and refine. When you work with gold on that scale, every design change has real financial consequences. Weight is crucial. Technique is crucial, and nothing is optimized for speed. Then comes the clasp. The LV clasp is set with VVS pave diamonds, stones chosen for their extremely high clarity. This is a point that critics often object to, because the diamonds are concentrated in one spot. But from a production standpoint, that single detail still requires jewelry-level craftsmanship. Setting the stones with that precision is slow, manual, and irreversible. Interestingly, Louis Vuitton does not disclose the production quantity of this bag. There is no announcement about the number produced each year. No official waiting list, no in-store displays. In fact, there is absolutely no visible supply, and that is intentional. Because when the supply is invisible, comparison disappears. You cannot put one bag next to another and say, this one is cheaper, or that one is better. You cannot track availability. You cannot monitor demand. All you know is whether you will be offered one. That uncertainty becomes an integral part of the product. In the traditional luxury industry, scarcity comes from limited production. Here, scarcity also comes from controlled access and secrecy. The bag exists, but only for those already in the system, the VVIP customers. So when people ask why it costs $1 million, the answer is not just the materials or labor. It is a combination of rare inputs, a slow process, irreversible risks, and a supply chain designed to be opaque. At this level, true transparency undermines the price, because once everything is visible, it becomes measurable, and once it is measurable, it becomes negotiable. By keeping the production limits and supply secret, Louis Vuitton has turned that very uncertainty into value. The Louis Vuitton Millionaire Speedy isn't an everyday bag. It's not designed for convenience, storage, or comfort. You don't buy it because it fits a laptop or suits your daily routine. The Millionaire Speedy isn't geared towards practicality, and it doesn't need to be. So who is it really for? This bag is made for the people who already have everything, the people who have houses, cars, watches, and collections. At that level, buying another functional item doesn't change anything. What matters is the iconic distinction, owning something very few people can afford, even if they have the money. That's why this bag appears in very special places. You can see it at fashion weeks, at private industry events, and in private collections, not on the streets, on public transport, and in everyday life. It's a talk item, not a utility object. And the people associated with it reinforce that role. Pharrell Williams himself has been seen wearing the $1 million crocodile leather version of the bag with gold and diamond hardware, clearly demonstrating it's a personal statement, not a commercial gimmick. NBA player PJ Tucker, known for his extremely unique sneaker and fashion collection, is also a confirmed owner, one whose entire identity is built on rarity and cultural icons. Meanwhile, the leather versions of the Speedy from Pharrell's collection tell a different story. Stars like Rihanna, LeBron James, and BTS J-Hope have been seen using these bags, helping to introduce the new Speedy language to a wider audience. And that contrast is crucial. The Millionaire Speedy sits at the very top of that ecosystem. Nothing can directly replace what it represents. Because at this level, you're not just buying a bag, you're buying a place in the cultural hierarchy of modern luxury. So, is the expensive Millionaire Speedy bag a good investment? Frankly, not in the traditional financial sense. This bag has extremely low liquidity, no established resale benchmarks, and no proven auction history. If you need to sell it quickly, there is no clear market waiting for it. Its value depends heavily on its cultural impact, on Pharrell's influence, on Louis Vuitton's standing, and on whether this moment in the luxury world will remain relevant for years to come. You are not investing in profit. You are investing in identity, story, and controversy. After carefully analyzing all of this, a few lessons really stood out to me, and I think to you too. The first lesson is that high prices don't always reflect quality. In the lower luxury segments, price often depends on the quality of the leather, the number of labor hours, and the brand's profit margin. But at the very top, those rules begin to falter. The Millionaire Speedy bag isn't just priced high because of its crocodile leather, gold, or diamonds. It's priced high because of what it represents: accessibility, distinction, and cultural influence. The second lesson is that, at this level, meaning is more important than function. This bag isn't trying to be useful. It's not trying to fit into your everyday life. Its value comes from what it represents, not from what it does. And once you understand that, the price starts to make sense, even if you still disagree with it. The third lesson is that controversy doesn't necessarily diminish value. In fact, it often increases it. The Millionaire Speedy bag was talked about precisely because people debated it. Some saw it as a work of art, others as a marketing gimmick, still others as a luxury item. But indifference is far worse. In the world of luxury, attention is currency, and controversy keeps an item alive. So, here is my advice. Hopefully it will be helpful to us. Before judging or admiring something like this, Stop and ask yourself a few honest questions. Are you viewing it as a consumer or a cultural observer? Are you buying a product or a story? And what do you truly value more, utility or symbolic power? It's also important not to apply conventional logic to the ultimate luxury items. These items don't exist to solve practical problems. They exist to represent status, identity, and belonging at the highest level. If you judge them by conventional standards, they will always seem absurd. And now I want to hear your opinion. Do you consider the Millionaire Speedy bag art, marketing, or extreme luxury? Does it represent creativity at the boundary of fashion? Or has it crossed that boundary? Please share your views in the comments. And if there's another luxury item you'd like me to analyze in detail, a handbag, a watch, a car, or even something more extreme, let me know. Your ideas might be the next story I'll write. Thank you for listening to my analysis.